Excuse the interruption, but I'm Heisler. Christian, I was sweating bullets during the Four Winds game. How's the tension level down there on the floor?
I'm Christian Kvilvang. Well, let's just say that this was one game that I was glad I wasn't going commando.
Okay, enough with the commando jokes. Pretty soon you'll start using Kornheiser's planetary jokes and we'll end up getting expelled.
You mean his Mercury jokes?
No.
His Venus jokes?
No.
His Mars jokes?
Absolutely not.
Saturn?
No.
Jupiter?
Alright, let's just stop right there and get on with the show. Hello boys and girls, today we have another toss-up, a new segment called Good Cop, Bad Cop, and a special interview with the one, the only Jacob Hagler. But we'll start off the show with some headlines. Christian, how are you feeling during the last few minutes and during the celebration of the championship game?
The feeling was like nothing that I've ever been a part of. It would have been exciting even if he had hit a buzzer beater to win a regular season game, but it's a completely different story being that he hit the shot to go to the state tournament. It was something you only see in the movies, and to be a part of it is something I will remember forever.
Well, from a fan's perspective, when I look back of the video of the celebration, you see all the players and they're thinking, we're going to state. Then you see the parents running out and they're thinking, I can't believe it, my son's going to state.
Yeah, and then you see the cheerleaders running onto the court and they're thinking, we get to go shopping! How do you think the boys fared at the state tournament?
I was really impressed with how the boys played. Along with another exciting buzzer beater shot in the first round, the boys played some great basketball over the weekend, taking home the third place trophy. Comparing them with the other teams, our boys were a lot younger and they only played the Iron Five. So I think with this, they went out and proved themselves.
I feel like the boys held their own at the state tournament. They played a very talented Beulah team and beat them in the final seconds, and wound up losing to the runner-up in rugby, and finished taking third place, when they weren't even supposed to make it there. I think that this will give them a lot of momentum going into next season. Allie, the girls have had two seemingly insurmountable deficits in the fourth quarter of each region game so far. How did you manage to make the big comebacks when you had been so lethargic for the whole game?
I can honestly say I have no idea how we were able to pull off those comebacks. On Monday night, Harvey showed up to play, but I think the fourth quarter fouls they had took them out of the game and allowed us to pull off the comeback. Then on Tuesday, Roulette was looking to make a run and pull off the upset, but we managed to put 4 minutes together in the fourth quarter to come back from a 10-point deficit. We went on a 16-3 run and made some key steals to win that nail-biter. And now it's time for Toss-Up with Sarah Hagler. Sarah, what do you got for us?
Thanks, guys. First toss-up. Which was the better game, Warwick in 2012 or Four Winds in 2014?
That's a tough question. I've been in the stands for both of these games, but I think the Warwick game was more exciting as a whole. I've never witnessed a shooting night like this, with 30 three-pointers made. Along with this, the game was decided with a buzzer beater shot for a chip to the regional championship game. It's not often that a crowd storms the court for a semifinal game.
Although that was a very exciting game, I believe that this year's game was better, not just because it went into double overtime, but also because the winning team won a trip to the state tournament. And come on, that had to be one of the most exciting games anyone has ever watched.
Which was the better freshman tandem, Peyton and Macy or Johnny and Jaden?
This isn't an issue of gender, but I think that Jaden and Johnny are the better duo due to the fact that the varsity team only plays 5 guys. And if they weren't there, that would put 2 players in a spot they wouldn't be comfortable with. They have also exceeded everyone's expectations for the year and have gotten better throughout the season.
I'm going to have to go with Peyton and Macy on this one. Those two girls are defensively sound. Macy brings her shot-blocking presence to the team, making other teams afraid to shoot in the paint. And Peyton has been able to use her speed to cause problems for outside guards. You know what they say, defense wins games. Next!
What's more impressive, Coach Hagler's 400 wins or 6 straight region championship appearances?
The 6 straight championship game appearances. This is something that is hard to do, especially for a small school like ours. North Star has one of the smaller enrollments compared to the other schools in the region, making 6 straight something to brag about. Not to mention that we have won 4 of those to get us to state.
6 straight region championships is definitely very impressive, but how many coaches can say that they have 400 wins over their career? This is quite an accomplishment for anyone, especially with the level of competition that these players play against, and the fact that teams change over the years. The struggle to stay consistent is one of the hardest things of coaching. Congrats, Mr. Hagler. Now we have a short break. Welcome back to the precinct. I'm Officer Kvilvang, and this is Officer Heisler. We're going to play a game called Good Cop, Bad Cop. Allie, what's the first case?
Is the Lara Center a good site for the Class B boys basketball tournament?
I'm going to go bad cop on this one because there aren't many things that I really liked about it. The atmosphere was kind of dull, the floor had dead spots, and I didn't really like the student sections being so far away from the court.
But the nice thing about Grand Forks is that it is a lot closer than Bismarck or Fargo. And as a fan, it's impossible to resist those Dippin' Dots and Bavarian nets. I mean, come on, am I right?
Is social media a good thing for high school athletes?
I'm going to be the bad cop. Social media causes way too much drama between teams, players, and even teammates. Have you seen some of those things put on Twitter and Facebook? Let's just say I'm not going to repeat a lot of those comments.
I'm going to be the good cop on this one because I think that it can benefit these players, especially at a young age. If you look at North Dakota Preps or even Twitter, you will see people bashing those players, and this will only motivate them to play better and also fuels their fire. Allie, is Region 4 the best region in the state for girls?
I'm going to be the good cop. Region 4 has a surplus of athletes and good teams. This year, 4 teams have been in the polls, with North Star, Rolla, Carrington, and Lakota. Along with these teams, Rolette and Harvey are teams that should not be overlooked. It should make for an interesting region tourney.
I'm going to be the bad cop on this one, as Region 4 definitely has some of the top teams in the polls, but other teams in other regions are much more balanced. Like if you go to Region 6 with Bishop Ryan, you'll see that the bottom teams are very talented, as are all the other teams that they're likely to play. Region 4 has some of the top teams, but you can definitely tell which teams are at the bottom, and it's not a pretty sight. Now we'll have a short commercial break. Welcome back, and now we have an interview with North Star alumni Jacob Hagler. Hello, Jake.
Hello.
How do you feel your first year at Jamestown went?
I think it was a pretty successful year, as we started off the year pretty slow, but as the year went on, we started to get better and better, and we ended up winning our conference, actually, regular season and postseason.
Very impressive. How much different is college basketball from the high school level?
I noticed a few major differences. One major difference for me is that I'm used to playing all 3 sports, and then going to just play basketball. It's weird going to watch the football games and having the baseball team practice in the gym and not being there doing that. Also, another big difference is the volume in practices. Everybody's talking the whole time, and it's just not quiet at all. And then I come back to a high school practice, it's pretty quiet, and go to that practice, very loud.
Where do you think you rank on the list of greats at CanDo/North Star?
I don't think that's for me to answer. There's a lot of greats that have gone through the school system, such as the Lindahl brothers, Komrosky, Swanson, even Vogt probably, but I don't think that's for me to answer.
Who would you say is the best athlete in your extended family?
Again, there's quite a few athletes that have gone through the school system in my family, but they always say the youngest is the best, so I'm probably going to have to say Hunter Hagler will have all the records by the time it's all said and done.
All right, thank you. Now we'll have a short commercial break. And now it's time for the big finish. Has anyone found Brent Heisler's radio?
No, but rumor has it he lost it again during the first round at state. Just kidding, but seriously, if you found a random radio, it's probably his. A big congrats to Penny Weston, who finally got to congratulate her son.
If you go back and look at the video, you will indeed see that Alex's mom was the last person to get to him, as she was dodging flying pedestrians left and right. Allie, who do you got for the NCAA tournament this year?
Well, I'm hoping the Tar Heels will pull through for me, but that hasn't panned out for the last couple years. I'm an upset kind of gal, though, so a team like Creighton would be nice to pull off that big win. How did New Rockford hold 3G to only 4 points?
Well, she has been dealing with an injury this year. But New Rockford is physical, and she isn't that much of a willing passer, so their double teams seem to do the trick. That's it for this episode. We'll try to do better next time. Good night, knuckleheads.
Good night, Can-Do.
Yeah, and then you see the cheerleaders running onto the court, and they're thinking, we get to go shopping! Yeah, and then you see the cheerleaders running onto the court, and they're thinking, we get to go shopping! Ooh. Yeah, and then you see the cheerleaders running onto the court, and they're thinking, we get to go shopping. Yeah, and then you see the cheerleaders running onto the court, and they're thinking, we get to go. Oh. Try, it's hard. Just be like, we get to.
Sound excited.
Okay, like a happy girl. Yeah, and then you see the cheerleaders running onto the court, and they're thinking, we get. Oh. Like, I don't know, like, I can't find a happy medium. Like, I'm either or heh heh. Yeah, and then you see the cheerleaders running onto the court, and they're thinking, we get to go shopping! That's it for this episode. We'll try to do better next time. Good night, knuckleheads.
Good night, Can-Do. Dang it. I thought that was me.